interview guide.
Ah, okay.
That's very long. Looks very long.
It's no worries. I can give a short summary. Maybe this helps.
Yeah. I think so. I've just seen the questions now. That would be good actually if you had wanted me maybe to answer them in advance. But now, since it's an interview, fine. I'm sure you will summarize those questions.
No, no worries. It's also not. It's just we noticed that some people like to know what the interview will be about, and it's also to just give a general context of what the publication is doing, what the purpose of the publication is. So it is part of the work that the Urban Food System Coalition has taken up after the United Nations Food System Summit to improve integrated action on food systems. So how can different governments work together more effectively to create sustainable food system change? And then also there's a little glossary with some of the vocabulary, because we know that, or the experience has shown that some terminology is quite specific on food systems. Not everyone is very familiar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I assume that you are quite familiar with the food systems approach.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar.
So I think it's just there for information. And so the goal would be for this publication that we show where some of the that we can identify, or that we can give a very practical guideline for policymakers in different contexts to have inspiration to understand what are some of the challenges that might occur in food system action, and how and some mechanisms that could address these challenges, or that could improve collaboration in different aspects. So this is in a nutshell what we are doing. Of course, I apologize, I have introduced myself, but I would also, of course, very much like to give you the opportunity to properly introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. I'm called Grace Bwenje, and I plan for agriculture at my institution, the National Planning Authority, and we are the co-conveners for food systems in Uganda, and I'm involved and I'm part of the National Food Systems Coordination Committee that guides food system development in Uganda. I'm a member. So National Planning Authority is a co-chair, is a co-convener to the food systems in Uganda.
Quickly to understand, what is your connection then with Mr. Edward Walugembe?
Mr. Edward Walugembe is the chair. He's the he's the convener.
Ah.
So when he's not in a meeting, I chair the meeting.
Okay. So
I'm a co-chair.
You're co-chairing. Okay.
Co-conveners, yes.
Okay.
So he is in the office of the Prime Minister.
Yes, indeed. Okay. And you are in the National Planning Authority.
Yes. So another co-convener is the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
Okay, so there's 3 co-conveners.
Two. Okay, yeah, 3, yeah. The main convener and 2 co-conveners, yes.
I understand. Okay. So the main is the Prime Minister's office.
Yes.
And then the co-conveners are the National Planning Authority and the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Okay, okay. Well understood.
Did you say you're doing something for FAO right now? So you left Rukolto or?
No, so the publication is initiated by FAO. FAO specifically the initiative Urban Food Agenda, who are co-chairing the Urban Food Coalition, together with GAIN. I don't know if you know GAIN.
You know, GAIN, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition.
Exactly, yes. But Ricolto is doing the work. Sorry?
It's headed by Haddad. Is it called Haddad? Is it called? Yeah, it's based in the UK. I think the headquarters are in the UK. No, Switzerland. Yes. Switzerland. I think the sub office is in UK.
I don't know. I don't know GAIN very well, but it could be. Yes, indeed.
Oh, yes.
The office of FAO Urban Food Agenda is in Italy. I do know that.
Yeah.
And so FAO has engaged Ricolto to do the research and the work on the ground for the publication. So I'm working for Ricolto as being the one doing the work on the ground. FAO is doing the international communication on this project. And so the goal is also to have this developed. I have already a structure developed by the stock taking moments in Rome, which will be end of July.
July, yeah.
Yes. Well, so with this, sorry, I lost a little bit my where I was in our conversation. Maybe we can just start with the with some of the first questions, or to follow up on what you said about the the Food Systems Committee. No, sorry, the Food Systems Coordination Committee, if I understood well. So you are a member. I understand probably the co-chairs and the national convener is a member of this committee?
Yes. Now, the National Food Systems Coordination Committee has several members. We have civil society represented. We have development partners represented by FAO. To be particular, we also have science bodies such as Biodiversity International.
I heard of them.
You know CIAT?
Yes.
Center for International Agricultural Research in the Tropics. They have an alliance. Have you heard of a CGAR, CG Center, Consultative Group of International Agricultural Research? What is your background? Are you an agriculturalist?
I have worked in agriculture, but I am an urban planner by profession.
Okay. Now
professional background.
Okay. I will deal with you in that order. I first thought you were an agriculturalist, so you must be reduced on the.
No, it's very useful to know. It's very useful to know.
Yeah. So we have science, international science body represented. We have the NGOs are represented by the Food Rights Alliance of Uganda. We have academia represented by Makerere University, our main university. We have the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. We do have Ministry of Local Government. We do have Ministry of Agriculture. We do have ministry, Office of the Prime Minister, the National Planning Authority, all these. So in short, if you remember the tracks of the food systems, so all their heads, people who were heading, the institutions that were heading the tracks are on there.
Okay.
That's other relevant bodies. So it's a coordination. It is a coordination to transform the food systems in the country. It gives guidance on how we can move forward with transforming the food systems. And so then it is co-informed. It is informed. Now, if you see the tracks have subcommittees. Yes, headed by those institutions. So those institutions now, I mean, the subcommittees inform the main committee.
So each of the tracks has a subcommittee headed by one of the bodies that is represented in this main committee.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I understand. I was wondering if you would say representation of local level government. Is there any representation of local level government?
Yes, local government. Yes, local government has a representation there.
And in which way? Who is the representation of local government?
We have the Ministry of Local Government.
Okay, so this is really the ministry. Okay. So the Ministry of Local Government is the representation of all local governments in this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is.
We also have the Ministry of Health, which I didn't say.
They're also involved. Yeah.
Ministry of Health is on. It's then responsible for a responsible and sustainable consumption.
Okay, so and this is also why they are involved in the committee. And so, if I understand well, you say the main role of this coordination committee is coordination and guidance. Yeah. Specifically, what are they doing in the development of the national pathway now? What are they like? What are their responsibilities?
Yeah, their responsibility now, for example, is to give direction. For example, right now we are conducting a strategic analysis of the food systems to identify requirements for human resources, requirements for financing, and also the policy and legal requirements. So we are currently assessing further. So we cannot move forward with a more robust action plan when we are not aware of the human resource skills and required, the kind of financing that we need, and also where are we regarding policies that regard the food system.
Okay. So the strategic analysis is being carried out now.
Yes.
Throughout the country.
Yes, a national function, yeah. And in the next 3 months, we will have the outcome report.
Okay, and who is carrying out this analysis? Is this like a consultant who is doing this, or is this an internal dedicated staff member who is responsible for this?
So we've received support from FAO, and we do have to hire consultants, but these consultants are more or less supporting for example, the Ministry of Public Service, which also sits on the other committee, is responsible for conducting the strategic analysis for the human resource requirements. And then also the National Planning Authority and Office of the Prime Minister are responsible for the for the financing requirements for food systems. Then the Ministry of Agriculture is supposed to look into the policy requirements. So they are being supported by the consultants. It's a national activity being supported by FAO, to conduct that.
Okay. And then
this work, this analysis is going to support the development of an action plan. Yes, we have a pathway as a country, but then we need an action plan that can better guide us on how to implement food systems transformation.
Okay. So this is already the next step that will be taken.
I saw you somewhere asking what are some of the challenges here and there. So you can say that one of the challenges is that we have delayed. It's been delayed a bit. We should have moved faster than this to conduct this analysis. But mainly we can say it's because of budget issues, looking for support. You have a beautiful watch.
Thank you.
So that issue of financing, then finally FAO has committed. So the other challenge, it's been hard for us to put in one room all development partners. They seem to have left FAO to do this alone. So the Rome-based agencies, which are supposed to be in full support of FAO, we are still struggling to put them in one room. So it may explain some of these delays as to why we've delayed to conduct the strategic analysis.
So there is the coordination is difficult at this point?
It's been difficult on that side of the development partners.
And you say this specifically for the development partners, not necessarily the government partners?
Because initially the Food Systems Summit found when we had already developed the third National Development Plan, our National Guiding Plan. Now, you don't attract financing if your activity is not in the national plan.
Okay, so this national plan is very important.
So this is somehow outside the budget, so it was constraining for us as Uganda to attract resources towards this kind of work.
Okay, I understand.
So it's otherwise, if government had that money, by now we would have already finished that activity.
And so now this also connects back to why the next step would be the development of the action plan. This then would mean that there can be a budget allocated to further implementation of the plan.
Yes. There we may have a hybrid mode, cost-sharing. Government can bring some money and we may seek a development partner who can support, probably FAO or any other partner. It will be quite easy now to make that one.
Okay, yes, I understand. To come back quickly on briefly on the role then of National Planning Authority within this development, if I understood correctly, you said now in the strategic analysis, we are analyzing financial requirements.
Yeah, financial requirements, yes, budget and financing requirements.
So if I understand well, because also the Ministry of Finance is important in this, I might assume, but in this case, National Planning Authority is the one who is taking lead into very concretely, how what are the tools that then the National Planning Authority will use to contribute to the development of this action plan? Are they also going to take lead in developing this action plan? I was wondering.
The action plan probably will be will be headed by Office of the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Because it's the action plan for the entire food systems transformation. So it goes back to the convener.
I understand.
Yeah.
When it comes to the content of the national pathway, what are the key issues that this pathway has now been focused on? Can you summarize them? Because you already talked about the different tracks, but like what are the different key issues that in this national pathway has been addressed?
You want issues that have been addressed or issues that we are interested in addressing?
Issues that you are interested in addressing.
Oh, our pathway is quite is quite very big. One, you may have to get it online. You will get it pathway for Uganda, but also if I can quickly get it here. Anyway, we look at issues handling food safety.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at addressing like malnutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are looking at value addition. We are looking at how do we add value to our food. And then also we are looking at issues to do with I told you about addressing food safety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then also we are looking at dietary diversity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at dietary diversity. Then also we're looking at consumer education.
Sensitization also. Yeah.
Then also nutrition sensitive research, culture, and scaling up these technologies, giving them to the farmers. It's quite big, and also organizing women.
This is also a pathway, a specific track in the pathway.
These are specific interventions that we want to address. Yeah, that we want to address in our pathway.
Okay. Yeah.
And we would want the smallholder farmers to access extension services.
Yeah. Which
so it's quite
also challenging.
And also we're also looking at climate change resilience.
Yeah.
So if you want to understand it more, you go and Google the pathway for Uganda. You will get it. It's there online.
Okay, I found something already. It's also interesting to understand that then each track is related to a subcommittee, which is informing the coordination committee to understand how the setup of this ambitious pathway is also being coordinated. I wanted to understand quickly.
So in short, the action plan is going to put in place measures, the requirements of how this pathway will be delivered. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then it's like the next step will be more detailed.
Yeah. So the pathway is more or less like a wish list. So it would be interested in finding which institution, which budget lines, which policy framework, which private sector can support this, who are the stakeholders involved, who will this be touching, how many livelihoods shall we be touching with this kind of intervention? Yeah, so it will be kind of detailed, yeah.
Yeah, very detailed already. So really with this action plan, there is like a roadmap to implementation, full implementation.
Yes.
Okay. because you said the national pathway is in development, and it has been challenging also. There is no budget on food, you said before. Were there any specific, or are there already some of specific national policies or strategies now that also have an impact on food governance, on how the food system in Uganda is managed? I'm thinking about other strategic action plans or specific policies, maybe not about food as a whole even, but as for agriculture, for example.
Yeah, we do have what we call the 2003 Food and Nutrition Policy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very, very comprehensive. It addresses almost 85% of the food system's requirements.
Okay.
Yeah, but now has some gaps, and we think actually it's very ripe. We think it's the entry point for us to review it and make it food systems proof. Yeah, so it's one. And then we also have the Uganda Nutrition Action Plan 2. Yes. Nutrition Action.
Okay. And so to understand the Uganda Nutrition Action Plan, this is also developed by the National Planning Authority?
No. It's developed by Office of the Prime Minister. That's why it is hosted. Because Office of the Prime Minister, if you look at nutrition, it needs multi-sectoral approach. You need a multi-sectoral approach to implement nutrition. Now, in Uganda, Office of the Prime Minister is the lead of government business and is the coordinating body of all agencies in the country. So, because nutrition being multi-sectoral, so it was easier for us to put it in Office of the Prime Minister. So that's why it was also easy for us to put the food systems in Office of the Prime Minister, being that it is easily be coordinated at that level.
Okay, now I understand. So if it would have been an agricultural action plan, it would not have been at the Office of the Prime Minister, but because it's multi-sectoral. Okay.
Like for example, the one I told you, the 2003 Food and Nutrition Policy, it's in the Ministry of Agriculture, but it is owned by both the Ministry of Health and because it's a food and nutrition policy. So both ministers signed that document. So Ministry of Health and Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay. And does this happen regularly? That policies are co-signed, or is this something quite specific for food-related issues?
It's unique because of the nature of interventions.
Okay.
After the interventions are health. Nutrition is more or less like a health.
Yeah.
So because of that relevancy, the Ministry of Health is involved. So depending on the policy, but most policies are in single sectors and are signed by only one minister.
Okay. So it's quite exceptional. In this food and nutrition policy, and because the nutrition action plan is also, it's still being renewed every 5 years, or was it just once that it was a?
The food and nutrition policy is supposed to be aligned to the National Development Plan. The National Development Plan is developed by the National Planning Authority.
Okay.
So you align the policy regarding to the interventions on nutrition that we have put. Now, why the UNAP? UNAP is the Nutrition Action Plan. Why the UNAP is very key for food systems is because you cannot have a functional food system that does not speak to nutrition. The end result of the food system is actually nutrition.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at the guidance, the UNEP speaks well to the food systems. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Maybe when going.
But also, because the country we are doing what we call a program approach, planning, implementation, and reporting. So our current national plan has got 20 programs. So one of the programs that practically speaks to food systems transformation, we have the agro-industrialization program. Yes, and it guides the different sectors how they can implement food systems. Yes, there are also other. So what I'm trying to say, the National Development Plan, in a way, also is the overarching policy document. And
Okay.
yes.
And so now the National Development Plan has about 20 programs. How should I see the relation between this National Development Plan and the action plan that would be developed for the National Pathway on Food? Is this then one of these programs under the National Development Plan, or are these two different instruments that are being used?
These are different instruments because the action plan, the food systems action plan, is for the food systems. Now, while the summit happened in 2021, though we had produced a plan, national plan, in 2020, we are not beginning from scratch. We're not starting afresh. There are very many interventions in the plan that speak to the food systems transformation.
Yes.
And among the 20 programs, there are other programs like on climate change, environment, so many. Now that yes. So they are quite different, but somehow it links to the plan.
Okay.
The national plan, yes. Yeah.
So the national development is multi-sectoral, and the food falls underneath, but is connected to different programs in a way, if I understand that. Okay. Just to understand, how is there do you find if there is currently good collaboration on the current action plans and also on the national pathway development between national and subnational levels?
Yeah, the pathway development was very consultative. We involved, the only group that we did not involve were the minorities. But other stakeholders were consulted. Youths, women, the private sector, cooperatives, everyone was consulted. Now, currently, the local government and the central government as development partners, we so far have synergies. I can say that on 29th this month, there will be a food systems meeting again for the coordination. I mean, for the National Food Systems Coordination Committee. What I didn't tell you is that committee also has the private sector foundation of Uganda, the umbrella body for all private sector.
Okay. So even private sector is also represented.
Because we realize and we appreciate that private sector is the key ingredient transformation. the food systems.
Okay. So it's really a multi-stakeholder committee, let's say. It has ministry, it has bodies like National Planning Authority, government bodies. It has civil society, it has private sector. Okay, it is good to note down in this way. You already mentioned some of the barriers, being for the pathway development, for collaboration. At this point, you say that would you say there is any barrier you experience specifically when you when you aim to engage with local government representatives?
I think we still have a challenge of appreciation for food systems.
Yeah.
Across everyone, people need to appreciate and understand what we mean by food systems transformation. It is not usual business. It's different business. So different stakeholders are still appreciating that.
So there is a knowledge gap.
Yeah, there's a knowledge gap. Yes.
Okay.
Then I would say that we do have, as I read for you, the pathway. It is so wide, meaning that we cannot finance everything. So there's a financing gap. The financing gap. Then also our analysis of the HR, of the human resource, will tell us whether we have the requisite skills to transform the food systems or not. Yes. Then the interplay of the private sector, also appreciating that they have a key role to play transforming the food system, especially in delivering healthy diets.
Okay. Yeah. Would you say that now they are not aware of their?
They are aware, but we still need them to appreciate more, to learn more, and also the wider private sector too. Yes.
Specifically, maybe I'd like to go a bit deeper also on the financial mechanisms, since this is something that you have probably a good overview over, and is not very clear always to understand as an outsider. So, what are the financial mechanisms that will be available for funding this transition from national pathway to an action plan? Would this be then a food action plan? What would be the name of the strategic action plan?
It will be a food systems transformation action plan.
Okay. So, yeah, what would be the financial mechanisms to fund the action plan and going from national pathway to action plan?
I think it is a lucky plan because, in the current 2 years, it may not attract a lot of financing because in the current 2 years, we are going to finish 2 years from now, we are finishing our current national development plan.
Okay, yeah.
So when we develop our development plan coming in the fourth national development plan, then we will take consideration of food systems transformation. Then it will sustainably attract financing from government budget. We will not have to depend on development partners, because right now we are pulling ropes, we are begging, we are doing everything. But then it will be the private sector, government, even the development partners will have a role to play. So it will be more or less like a tripartite kind of arrangement. So that is 2 years from now. But currently, we must attract as much money as possible from development partners, especially towards implementing our low-hanging fruits in our pathway. Yes, because it is in our interest that we should be implementing the low-hanging fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Because the summit found us somewhere. So it's building on what we already had. So why don't we then implement what we had planned already?
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So that's the mechanism. So currently, the mechanism is harvesting the low-hanging fruits.
Yeah.
Meaning government should implement those with support from development partners.
Mm-hmm.
Then the private sector can also play their role where they're supposed to be. So
okay. Yeah. And then when integrated in the National Development Plan, no, maybe first, when you say, well, there's actually a diversity of funds that will that has to be engaged for implementation. Who within the government is responsible for acquiring these funds, or is there like a lead department or a lead agency to engage on or to coordinate also these funding sources?
Now, the National Food System Coordination Committee, that's one of their roles to identify the gaps, and then they inform responsible institutions. Because all interventions fall under respective sectors. So if it's Ministry of Education or Ministry of Health, you should prepare a budget to implement the interventions under food systems transformation. Then every government agency must submit their budgets to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development for financing. So the Ministry of Finance only finances budget lines that are within the indicators that were put in the program-based budget we have. So the national plan and the program-based budgeting system are linked. So if you have an activity outside that, you cannot attract financing.
Okay, I understand. To make sure then to follow the path when I would be, for example, for a city like Mbale, let's say, if they want to make sure that certain actions are that there's funds for certain actions on food, what is the pathway that they have to go through? Do they also have to develop a plan, or is this already taken care of at national level?
Yeah, they have been taken care of already. So each program, each program in the plan, the national plan has 20 programs.
Yes.
You can have one, say, on urban development and infrastructure development, agro-industrialization, development plan implementation. We can have one on climate change, water resources, petroleum development, mineral development, digitization. So many plans. Now, so many programs. So you as Mbale City, where do you fall in that plan? If your mandate is to develop, say, healthy diets for your inhabitants,
Mm-hmm.
or develop a good water and sanitation program for people, or to construct good roads, then you must get into the program working group. Each program has a working group.
Mm-hmm.
Then you submit your interests in line with what was put in the national plan. So what we do to actualize the plan, we've developed what we call a program implementation action plan.
Mm-hmm. So this is a one-on-one linked to the 20 programs in the development plan.
Yes. So each program has a program implementation action plan that is now linked to the program budgeting system of the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is a higher level in the plan. It goes breaking down until they will send money to your department to do XYZ.
Okay. And so if you want to have an influence on this as a city, the best way would be to be in the program working group.
Yes.
And this happens. You have city representatives in these working groups.
They do. Like we have the Kampala Capital City Authority.
Okay.
Yeah, so they also sit in the programs. Yeah.
Okay. Then I understand. But so I assume that maybe for a smaller village or a smaller municipality who it's not necessarily possible to have representation in a program working group, how would they be then? How would they be capable of accessing funds or making sure that there is a certain fund? What is the mechanism they have to follow?
They follow what we call a parish development model. You can interest yourself in reading about it. The parish development model is an engine that has been put in place by the government of Uganda to deliver services to the grassroots.
To the grassroots. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a touch base. It touches base between, so it makes sure that the budget reaches down in infrastructure, social services, agriculture development, and all that. So there is they organize the members, they're organized into groups.
Okay.
Yeah. And also government can even extend to them soft simple loans for which money they can borrow to use and then take it
return
back. Yeah, but also healthcare, all the things. So it's the engine for the national plan, in other words.
Okay. And so this is not topic specific. I mean, this can be on food, but this can also be on healthcare, as you say.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Okay. If you say in Uganda the challenges on the comprehensiveness of the plan and the finance gap, what would be an example of what is currently being done to address these challenges, like an action that is being taken?
Pardon on that?
So you mentioned before, we talked about the finance gap, we talked about the challenges of getting all development partners in the same room. Is there something you can identify, an example of an action that is taken to address this challenge now in Uganda?
Yes, true. We've written several letters to the development partners, and now they seem very organized. They are getting on board. We are planning for the food systems transformation. So we want it to also be a priority in the country. So in our initial processes right now, discussions are ongoing that we must involve the food system. So we are putting it at planning,
Okay.
also, at planning level, but also at coordination level. As a country, we are on the lookout. So it's more like an affirmative action. So we look out if the interventions were in the plan.
Yeah.
So we pay an extra eye to make sure that we see this being implemented, and also regular meetings of the National Food Systems Coordination Committee and harmonization really is a drive to solve most of these issues. And also we keep negotiating with our brothers and sisters in the Ministry of Finance, to pay attention to the system information.
I wanted to ask about the prioritization you mentioned. Is this kind of a prioritization, an official prioritization within National Planning Authority that you are aiming to achieve, or is this also at the ministry level an official prioritization for food systems? Would this be possible?
Yeah, the ministry level, yes, they are. One, when we discussed food systems transformation, we wrote a letter as National Planning Authority to all the ministries, highlighting to them the key interventions that they're supposed to address.
Okay.
Yes.
And yeah.
So remember the harvesting of the low-hanging fruits.
Yeah.
Look out.
Okay. So this was officially communicated from National Planning Authority to all departments. Okay. I see we're going over time, but it's a very interesting conversation, and we were a little bit late in starting. Do you mind if we continue, or would you prefer that can I continue asking the questions, or do you have another engagement coming up soon?
Yeah, we can do this for the next 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Because it will get dark.
Yes, I understand. I don't want to keep you there until the middle of the night.
And I have someone who is supposed to travel to the US. I'm supposed to give them some things.
Okay.
So I'm sure they are looking for me.
Okay, then we will make sure that I will try to make sure that we addressed all the questions in the next 15 minutes. Thank you for your flexibility. When you say a quick question, when you say regular meetings of the National Food Systems Committee, Coordination Committee, is there like a rhythm now? Is there an agreed upon regular timing in these meetings?
Yes, every quarter of the year.
Okay.
But if there is something urgent, you can sit at any time.
Okay, yes, of course.
But we also have a WhatsApp group where we discuss.
There's a WhatsApp group with the committee members.
Yeah, where we discuss.
Okay, that is also interesting to know. So, for example, Agnes Kirabo, who is the person from Food Rights Alliance, the representative, she's also in this group.
Yeah, Agnes Kirabo is the committee member from Food Rights Alliance.
Yes. Okay.
You know her.
I've interviewed her last week. So.
Yeah? Okay.
I'm going through the key informants of the Uganda food system, I would say.
Okay.
Then maybe what I wanted to ask is about the mechanisms, but I think you already addressed this in your, because the next question is about formal and spontaneous mechanisms that help on collaboration and communication between different levels of government on decision making in food systems. So you say like you have the committee as a formal way, and then the WhatsApp group also as an informal channel of communication. And so I hear also that letters is a way of official communication between levels of government. How important are the letters for communication and coordination purposes?
Yeah, if an agency writes you a letter, so you must reply, and then you have a way forward. If they're calling you for a meeting, then you show up. If they want to come and meet you, then you give them a date when they can come and see you. Or if they are saying, please work on interventions X, Y, Z. If you're able, you say, I will. If you're not able, you say, I'm not for reasons X, Y, Z. So formal, those are letters. We have meetings where we draw reports, conclusions, and all of that, yeah.
Maybe this is also interesting to understand the reporting on targets. Who is responsible for the reporting at a local level?
Reporting to who and on what?
So if you say because this is of course in the future, but if you say there will be a strategic action plan on food, which is multi-sectoral, how would this be, like, who would be the person that will need to report, or the persons who are the actors that will need to report on the targets that will be put there? Is this then someone at the national level, a Ministry of Agriculture representative that will have to report, or is this also at a city level that reporting will have to happen?
I think it will depend on how we have layered it, Yeah. Currently, everyone on that committee has to report. They have to report
Okay.
to the office of the Prime Minister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. What would you say is the role for non-state actors to improve coordination specifically? How could they support better alignment?
Non-state actors.
Civil society.
One, they have the whip. Sometimes the government people are too busy and they're getting into other things. So the civil society makes sure that you are aligned and they continuously remind you of your job, advocacy, all of that. And also, they have money to implement some of these initiatives. So they do financing, and they have the technical ability. We partner with them on very many things. So technical capacity, financing.
Yeah. So there's quite a different things that they can do. But so accountability, keeping government institutions accountable is also one of them. Okay. Coming back to specifically the guidelines that we discussed, is the thing we are working on. For you as co-convener of the pathway, but also as planner agriculture, what would you expect to find in practical guidelines that could help to connect more effectively between different levels of government? So on the one hand, not only between ministries at the national level, but also to connect to state governments, and to follow up on accountability of state and city governments on food system action.
Yeah, there should be a clear, good working relationship. It should be a bottom-up one approach to that, and then also a good working relationship, harmony, and also clearly defining stakeholder roles. Who is doing what? Who is doing what at what stage?
Yeah.
And the reporting should be very clear.
Okay. So
And accountability should be personal and clear.
okay. Yeah.
So accountability mechanisms should be strengthened within there. Reporting very clear and on what? Meaning we need a very good, actually going forward, we need a very good M&E system.
Yeah. I understand.
The food
What you're
system.
saying.
And I
hear you.
think national governments are not taking this as a priority, but to me, I think it's a very key priority. For example, if you develop that action plan, how are you going to know that you're delivering? Yes.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. So you have the goals, but now you have to see how to follow up on them. Okay. And then the final question maybe that I have is, which key capacities should be developed at local and then like at local level on the one hand and at national level on the other hand to allow a more integrated implementation of food policies?
We need technical capacity at national level. Training them, appreciate further food systems, how to implement the food systems.
Yeah.
So the last message they have is for those who were involved in tracks, the different action tracks. But we will need them to know more beyond that. Then also mobilizing financing would be very, very key. Because financing is going to be very key in this food systems transformation discussion. How can you optimize the resources that you have? Because no one has the money now. Everyone is looking for the money. All the countries are looking for money. So how can you best implement at minimal cost and then achieve the results that you need? So those are some of the trainings, the capacity building that can be. But also, benchmarking lessons. Some countries may have advanced, like I think Ethiopia now is advancing. So
there's still challenges there as well.
Yes, I don't know, but they need to. Then one would want to go and see what's happening.
The networking. Yeah.
There's a professor. He came here. I met him at Montpellier University in France. He told me he's using Foresight. You know Foresight?
Yeah, we use it at Ricolto as well. I'm not familiar with the system myself, but I know we use it.
It's like a scenario analysis.
The what do they do with it?
It's like a scenario analysis. It's like
no, that's something else still. That's something else. Yeah.
It's a forecasting. It's a modeling kind of.
Okay.
He's using it to transform the food systems.
Okay, so it's a specific tool. Yeah.
He was telling me that he's an old professor. He's been preaching about food systems for the last 15 years. And
That's long.
Yeah. And the world is just appreciating food systems 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's been preaching for a long time then.
Yeah, so one would need such a person to.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if I understand, also these kind of tools are actually available, but people don't know about it. Actors
Yeah,
don't know about it. People
yeah.
in decision roles don't know about it. No, I understand. Okay,
Then
okay, yeah.
the local governments, the capacity building would be more in value addition, how to produce clean food for the market,
Okay, so really technical skills, more specifically.
but also organizing them is very key.
Okay.
Organizing them at that local, at that level, and giving them also these ones here up at the higher level need still technical, but how to put up the right policies.
Yeah, okay. So there is a clear distinction
We now
in,
need
yeah.
we now need, you know, this is multi-sector and it is new. No one in this world, no one has such a comprehensive policy. And the other gap I didn't tell you is the review process.
Okay.
It's cumbersome. Trying to find a comprehensive policy to address food systems is going to be very cumbersome, especially for countries where decision making is very political and slow. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so you say this because of the multi-sector approach, you mean?
Trying
Oh,
to
okay. Yeah.
get all these synergies from the different areas. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So this means I understand that this means what I understand is that you are now trying to make this multi-sectoral approach, which means that now all sectors have to agree and have to
Yeah.
validate.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I understand. So this slows down the process as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is that's an important one to keep in mind.
Yeah,
I
and
actually, yeah.
also remember some
Sorry,
of
go
these
ahead.
some of these are acts of parliament. Some of these are acts of parliament
Ah,
now involving parliament to break down existing legislation and develop new legislation is cumbersome itself.
yeah, yeah. So getting out of this sectoral approach is really cumbersome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I had one more question I forgot to ask in the beginning. When you said there was a lot of consultation in the National Pathway Development, could you like very briefly describe the process of consultation, the modality of how this happened? Who was consulted?
I will tell you that it was funny. It was most of them were on Zoom. Remember when COVID?
Ah, okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they were in Zoom. But the most interesting part that most of those consultations produced reports. So they consulted farmers, farmer representatives, transporters, so marketing. So they looked for all value chain actors and institutions and consulted them.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
The youth, the women.
And then in the consultation was this, so it was a Zoom meeting?
Some of them were Zoom meetings, but others were physical meetings where it was not yet complete, or where COVID had relaxed a bit.
Ah, okay. And then was it really done as in, like what was the topic of the consultation? How was this organized?
There were guides which were presented by the UN.
Ah, okay. So the guidelines were followed in this consultation specifically.
Something like that, and basically the major aim of the events, those events were to listen to what people want for food systems transformation in their key areas
Okay.
where they operate. So this pathway that you see was a collection of all those voices and put into themes.
Okay, which is why it's so comprehensive, probably. Okay, that was good to understand for the end of our interview. I've reached the end of my questions. As a final question, do you have any last remarks? Things that were not addressed in the interview that you think would be helpful for the publication we're developing?
Yeah, I think, I don't know how many countries have put up a National Food Systems Coordination Committee. They may be having other arrangements, but to me, I think it's a very good way of putting these people in the same house, all the actors, and also involving the private sector better. We are talking about this, but there's no very, very clear strategy. One of the entry points, I forgot to tell you that AGRA, have you heard of AGRA? An Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I'm not very familiar with it.
And the head of that agency was appointed by the UN Secretary General as the envoy for the food systems. She's called Dr. Agnes Kalibata.
And so she's also, so she is the chair of AGRA, but AGRA is
AGRA is an African body.
Inter-African, like it's not related to Uganda
Africa.
only.
But we also have them on the committee.
So she's in the committee.
No. For her, she's a big woman. She's the head of that whole thing. I think she sits, where do they sit? Is it Nairobi or Accra, Ghana? I don't know where she sits.
Okay.
The country manager sits in the committee.
Okay.
Now, what am I trying to say? They are trying to help the private sector develop investment cases.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to communicate. We need investment cases.
Yeah.
For the private sector.
Okay. So this is a second, and so there is not only the national private sector representation, this is also a representation that helps to get funding also specifically.
It's an international, AGRA is.
Yeah.
If you remember Kofi Annan,
Yes.
Kofi Annan is the one who recommended that they establish AGRA for Africa to spur agricultural production in Africa. So it's that body that unites Africa on that front. And currently, it's the first of food systems in Africa.
Really? It's the first that is... Okay.
And it's arranging the African food systems, like summit, I think, is it forum or conference in Dar es Salaam in September.
Okay. Do you think it would be interesting for us to talk to this country director? Would he be able to speak about the national pathway of Uganda and then the connection to this international process?
Yeah, maybe they can tell you what they think can be done for us to reach where we should be. Yeah, they can tell you what they are doing, and they can share some insights. They've been in this space for a while.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. But do you have a contact information?
Yes. Let me see if I can. I'm using a device here. I did what? My computer was disturbing me with your Microsoft Teams. So.
My apologies. Microsoft Teams appears to not be the best format.
Let me see. Let me give you his number. You want his number or his email?
You can share both, because I try to do by email since I'm not in Uganda, but if necessary, it would be interesting to have his to have both, and then I can.
When are you coming to Uganda? Have you talked to someone from?
Sorry, the line got cut.
One is, when are you coming to Uganda?
I'd love to come soon, but I don't have the mandate yet to go.
And two is, when are you? I mean, have you talked to someone in the private sector?
No, I haven't talked to anyone in the private sector yet. So this is why I thought that this person at AGRA could be interesting, because they are private sector representation in a way, no?
No, they are not. It is an international NGO.
Ah, they're an NGO as well. Okay.
Let me give you someone. If you want to talk to the private sector, let me give you someone in the private sector. That
would also be useful. And what I also have a bit of a challenge with, I was hoping I would be able to also talk to Mr. Walugembe as the national convener. But unfortunately, I only have his email address, and he has not responded to emails. Do you know another way of contacting him, or
WhatsApp?
Okay. Do you have a contact for that?
Let me give you his WhatsApp. Then you will introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm asking a lot of contact information at the same time. My apologies. I am lucky. I'm lucky you are a well connected person.
2, 120, 120, 6, 8, 9. That is Edward Walugembe.
Perfect.
So, are you Dutch?
I am Belgian. I speak Dutch.
Ah, you're Belgian. I've been to Belgium once by a bus from Paris.
Paris. Yes. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah.
It was a 4 hours, 5 hours drive. We were going not so far inside. We were seeing there's a tractor company called, what's that? It's a famous tractor company. It's called New Holland.
Okay. Yes.
They have an assembling plant in a place called, I think, like I remember the place. I don't remember the name.
It's quite specific that this is what you visited in Belgium. I don't think many people can say that this is what they visited in Belgium.
So we reached there.
Interesting.
So that is his phone number.
Thank you very much.
And let me get for you for someone from Private Sectors Foundation.
Are they the ones who are also involved in the committee?
Yes. You could actually give him let me get his number. It will be easier to. So he's from the Private Sector Foundation. Private Sector Foundation, Uganda. So do you know KU Leuven?
Yes, I studied at KU Leuven.
Hey, wow, that's awesome. I only know Ghent and KU Leuven.
Well, I am currently based in the city of Leuven. So where the University KU Leuven is based, I am currently in the city of Leuven.
Okay.
So how do you know KU Leuven?
It has the science we are always interested in. Food science and technology.
Yeah.
I am an agriculturalist, but who is interested in foods and nutrition. And I'm currently doing my PhD in food fortification. You know food fortification?
Okay. Yeah. And at which university?
No, Makerere University in Uganda.
Okay. But so because of so that's why Ghent University also is familiar to you. They also have a food nutrition and food science.
Yeah, I used to like when I was still a young man, very young. I always thought I would do my masters from there.
Okay. Yeah. The universities here are nice. Maybe you also know of the Belgian beer. That is the other.
Called, what is it called?
Duvel. Do you know Duvel?
No, but what I know, there is this company called
InBev.
AB InBev. I used to work for it here in Uganda.
Really? I didn't know they had an office in Uganda.
They own the biggest brewery in Uganda.
Okay. Yes.
It's a chain, yeah. So I used to work for them.
What is the beer again in Uganda that they produce then?
Several, so many, like Nile Special.
Yeah. I know Nile.
Yeah, so they bought that company that makes Nile Special. And AB InBev bought the Miller Group of America, the Sub Miller. If you know SAB Miller.
Yeah. What is that again?
SAB Miller was a South African and American group. So it was bought by AB InBev. Now that made AB InBev the biggest brewer in the world.
Yeah, they are immensely big. It's incredible.
So they compete with another company called Diageo, something like
that. Yeah, I don't know them. I just know. Yeah, this is a bit. As a Belgian, I only know AB
InBev. Yeah.
I worked for them for a summer job. One summer, I did a small job. Yes, as a student. So we worked for the same company, be it in very
that is interesting.
in very different positions. I was only a summer intern.
I was in sourcing for raw materials.
Yeah, that makes sense as an agriculture background. Yeah.
So that's Martin.
Yes.
I've written. Let me see if I can get the email.
Yeah, if possible, that would be great. As a last question, I didn't ask yet. For if you want, for including the information you shared with us in the publication, I'd like to know if you are okay with being referenced to by your name, or if you prefer to be anonymous or just referenced by job title.
The reference. It's fine. It's fine. You can reference me whatever way you choose. Put my name. Do you mind sharing with me this recording or?
The recording, I can share the recording with you. No problem. Yes.
And your report, will you still remember my email?
I have your email. It's recorded in our list. So for the next steps, as I said, we'll try to present a first draft. And this is going to be very rough. This is just a structure at the end of July. The aim is to more or less finalize the publication by the end of the year. So by the end of the year, we hope to be able to have it published. This will also depend on FAO, so I cannot guarantee that there will be no delays, but the objective would be that then especially everyone who was interviewed also will receive the publication. So I will make sure that you receive a publication as well.
Okay.
And I can already share the recording of our conversation of today with you. That I can do. I will do this today.
Oh, thank you. Now, it would be nice to interview someone who is on that committee, who is more. Of course, we have FAO that sits on that committee. Then
Who is the person from FAO who sits at the committee? What's his name?
He's a police officer in Uganda. He's called Jean-Marie. Jean-Marie Byakweri.
How do you write that? How do you write the name of the policy officer?
I'm typing. Who is distracting you? Your husband?
My sister, actually.
Tell her to greet me.
She's going. She has to get a bus. She will come say hi.
Oh, how are you?
Right.
How are you? What's your name?
This is Mr. Grace Bengie from Uganda. Hello. He asked, how are you?
I am fine. It's hot in Belgium, but probably also
in
Uganda.
That's great. Yeah. So that's his name, Jean-Marie.
Ah, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah. With this, I have many contacts. Thank you very much.
How did you get my contact?
I got referenced by Mr. Alan Ochieng. He emailed.
Yes, I work with him here. How did you get to him? How did you get to him?
So through the Ricolto team, we have through my colleague Peter Businda from Ricolto. I don't know if you know him. So Peter Businda is working on food systems in Uganda, in Mbale and in Kampala.
What are they doing for food systems? Because we would want to bring them on board, and that's the job of the Food Systems Coordination Committee. As a country, we've moved to a level where we don't want to duplicate efforts.
Yeah.
So one of our role is actually to eliminate duplication. We would like to move in one force. So we have very many small NGOs or big NGOs doing the same work in the same area for food systems. And so, for example, I'm just knowing now that Ricolto is doing food systems. So I don't know. But it would be very easy for us to say, look here, this is our pathway, and this is Mbare. Could you deliver this?
Absolutely. Yeah. No. I think it would be wonderful if coordination can happen or if alignment can happen.
So among your challenges, can you write that as another challenge? The coordination is not yet, coordination of actors is not yet paid. That's a real, people in that space are not yet speaking to each other very well, especially with the civil society. So do you realize that the money is there actually to do food systems transformation?
Yeah.
But we just need to organize our efforts.
Exactly, and the other way around as well. That I mean, civil society can try to do actions, but without collaboration with the government institutions, there is a big gap in knowledge on how to implement and create an enabling environment. So no, I agree. We are working on Good Food for Cities programs. We are facilitating multi-stakeholder processes mainly, and also working on food safety as one of the key entry points that we work with, trying to bring together farmers and vendors on a safer and more traceable value chain. But then also really, we collaborate quite a lot with Food Rights Alliance.
You work with them?
Yes, so in Bali, a food parliament was set up to coordinate different actors working on food and food safety. But we mainly have been working on a city level currently. One of the processes that we are now working on more on a national level, if I understood from Peter, is in the setup of, we've been involved in the food safety coalition. So there is a food safety coalition being established in Uganda. This is where the first research institution you mentioned, Bionat? No, what's the name?
Bioversity.
Yeah, I think they are the ones facilitating this. But so, if possible, I can connect. I mean, would it be possible if I connect you and my colleague, Mr. Businda, through email?
Yeah, it would be very good. I see
Wonderful.
someone called. There are 1,000 people who have your name here, so I can't send you a LinkedIn.
I don't have LinkedIn.
And the people who are there that have your name.
I don't have a LinkedIn account, so there are many people with the same name. I think it's like my last name is very popular in Belgium, and so is my first name.
So, does D mean that you're a daughter of someone? Or D means what?
Is the translation of the. Actually, my last name means the fox.
Means what?
The fox.
Hey. Why? Okay.
So it's an animal name. Yeah.
Okay.
I can LinkedIn. I will have to make one. If I make a LinkedIn, I will make sure to look up your name.
So let me give you my number and you send me. Are you on WhatsApp?
I am on WhatsApp. Yes.
Let me give you my number. I would love to have your WhatsApp. You're an interesting person.
Thank you. Well, I really enjoyed our conversation. You are very interesting to talk to as well.
Thank you.
And I will write an email to connect with Peter, with my colleague Peter in Uganda. He is regularly in Kampala, so maybe there is because you said, when is the next meeting of the committee?
On 29th March.
March?
Because, no. This month, June. You're awake. You're very awake. What time is it? So you can see that I'm getting tired. The whole day I've been talking.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, and I'm keeping you from exiting the office.
So bringing them on board would give them more relevancy in Uganda.
Yeah. I mean,
putting them in our database of people doing food systems work gives them relevancy. So it's for Lokoto's good to be appreciated by the Office of the Prime Minister, National Planning Authority, and yeah. So I know Lokoto, they are doing very good work here. I worked with them on rice. They were developing something on rice. There's
Yes.
a gentleman.
Yeah, John Ehring, he works, he's our
John. Yeah,
Yes.
John, yes. I think I have John's number, yes.
Yes, we have a more elaborate program on rice in Uganda, correct? And John has been with Rico for many, many years. So.
I think you can see his. I think that is John.
That's him. That's him. Yes, that's he's also he's actually the regional rice director, program director. So he's responsible for the whole region of East Africa. He coordinates not only Uganda, but also Tanzania and DRC currently.
And sometimes I meet him at the airport.
I didn't know this was a networking place, the airport. I didn't know it was networking.
I think it is.
Interesting.
Probably I'm going to meet you at Brussels.
Yes, you could. Yes, this is also.
I will look out for someone who resembles Princess Diana.
Do I look like? Thank you.
And then I know that is the one. Okay.
Very charming. Thank you very much, Mr. Benguia. I will share the recording with you. I will bring you into contact with my colleague Peter Bisinda. I tremendously enjoyed our conversation. I've learned a lot again. Thank you so much for taking time, for making time to talk to me today. And I got your number. I will write a WhatsApp message right after.
Thank you very much. I'll be glad to continue this.
Wait, no, I will do it easier. I will just write it down now so that you have it already, because I might have to run to. Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Let me pick it before you close the.
Yes.
Yeah, it is showing Belgium. Okay.
I'm not lying.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes.
Have a nice evening. I hope it's not too dark yet there. And I will keep you informed on the process.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye.
But you will have good information from Martin. You tell him, Grace. Martin is an agriculture coordinator for the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda.
Okay.
Agriculture and agribusiness something.
Okay. I will tell him I got a contact from you.
Yeah. So when you say that, he'll give you time and respect. Yeah.
The name will open doors, I hear. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Benguia. Enjoy your evening. Bye.
Stay away with the sun.
Thank you. You too.